My name is Eric Sanderson. When this happened, I was 27. I had been married for just over 2 years. I met Jane Kowalski when I got out of the military. I was in a bookstore and she saw what type of books I was looking at and asked help in getting a couple of books for her brother for his birthday. We introduced ourselves and talked about her brother's likes and dislikes in reading material. I offered some suggestions from my favorite authors. She thanked me and started to go to look for the books. I asked her to wait for a second. I then asked if she would like to go to dinner with me. She said where and when and gave me her cell phone number. We went out to dinner later that week and started seriously and exclusively dating from there. Jane wanted to hear all about my military duty, most of which I could not talk about. I probed for her background and experience. I found a good job with an electronic security company as a troubleshooter and field installation supervisor. My area was the local metro area. Nice job, good pay, and more importantly, only about 2 hours a day of office time. After about 6 months on the job, I asked Jane to marry me, and she said yes. We got married about 18 months after we met. Things were fine for the first year, plus with good company, great intimacy, and lots of conversation. Then things started to change. At first, like most mere men, I did not notice a great change. When I finally noticed, I realized that Jane was not her usual cheerful self at home. She stopped asking about my day. Our intimate moments felt more obligatory than affectionate, and she no longer seemed interested in the activities we used to enjoy together. No date nights, no friends over for cards, no time in the public with me. When I suggested something, I was shot down with not in the mood, not feeling well, and just doesn't sound like fun. Of course, the Tuesday nights with the girls did not have those complaints. And to be fair, she never complained when I went out with my guy friends or my weekends fishing. One day, I got home a little early and I overheard part of a phone conversation Jane was having with her sister where she said, "Eric just doesn't excite me anymore. He's no fun." Then she looked up and saw me and blushed and quickly ended the call. I asked, "Do you want to talk about this excitement or fun problem?" I was hurt, sad, and mostly angry, so I added, "Isn't it nice that you can talk to your sister about our problems, but you can't talk to me?" Jane started to say something, but only sobbed and ran out of the room. I heard the bedroom door close and went into the living room and sat down to think about what I had heard. I must have lost track of time because I woke up the next morning still in the chair in the living room. I got out of the chair and went into the bedroom for my clothes for work and found a note and Jane's rings, her cell phone, and car keys on the dresser. I also saw that all of her clothes that she still wore were gone from the closet. I called work and took a personal day. Then I sat on the bed to read the note. "Eric, I'm sorry you heard that last night. I wanted to talk to you this weekend, but what you heard just moved the timetable up. I am leaving to go to a retreat to find myself. I have been unsatisfied with our lives for a couple of months. I left the rings because I think that when you get over the shock, you will be angry. For that I am sorry, but I want some excitement in my life. And until I can feel that urge, I want to not be reminded of us or our marriage. I am not planning to take a lover, and I have not cheated on you or our marriage. But you are boring, and I am not sure that I can overcome that. I will contact you when the retreat is over and we can see where we go from there. Jane." And with that, the note ended. Jane was right. After the shock, I got angry. I also decided to get even. As I said earlier, I work for an electronic security company. I sat down and made a plan of how to exact my retribution, because frankly, how do you find excitement on a retreat? I made a list of things I needed to do. 1. Protect our assets, change banks, lock her out of my profit-sharing and retirement accounts, pay off all outstanding charge cards and cancel them. 2. Cancel the lease on the apartment. 3. cancel the cell phone plan, and buy a prepaid phone and plan. 4. Have someone check out our computer and Jane's cell phone history for any information on what might be really going on. 5. Hire an investigator to find out where Jane has gone. I got through the first 3 parts of the list and did not find any surprises. I took Jane's laptop, the house computer, and the cell phone to one of the guys at work who did cybersecurity for a side job. The bank accounts had not been touched. The work stuff was easy because I hadn't set up a beneficiary before, so I just named my parents as primary and my brothers and sister as secondary. For the charge cards, I asked for copies of the last 6 months of charges and paid them off. The cell phones were on a month-to-month also, so I got copies of the last 6 months of calls and canceled the service. I bought a track phone plan for my new phone service. I rented an apartment in a different part of town and did not have a landline phone put in. The investigator was one that my cyber nerd coworker recommended, and he gave the investigator a list of email addresses and phone numbers that were from the devices I had him check. My last step before closing out this phase of my plan was to call Jane's sister and say to her, "When Jane finds herself, have her try to find me. I have informed our security she is not allowed on company grounds. I have had our switchboard informed that I would not accept calls from her and that if she calls, she is to be informed of these steps I have taken." I added, "A retreat is not a place to find excitement, but for finding some kind of peace within oneself. If I find she is cheating on our marriage, I can promise she will need to find that peace, because my policy is a modification of turn the other cheek. You slap my cheek, I punch your cheek. Please pass that information on before she finds herself divorced." Now all I had to do was wait. It was the next day that Jane tried to call me through work. She then tried to ambush me when I went to my car after work. The security crew refused her access to the company grounds. Then she tried to get my parents to get me to talk to her. I told them that I couldn't talk to her as I was seeking a way to become unboring and to find myself. I was followed while on my calls when I left work, and notes were stuck on my car's windshield and work van. I just took the notes and put them in my trash without reading them. I made sure to lose a follower of my personal car and told my boss about the following of the company vehicle. He notified the police, and they told him that Jane was warned to cease and desist, as it was considered stalking. The investigator informed me that the retreat was not a normal retreat, but a team-building exercise for Jane's work. He also said that the exercise was only a one-day work-hour affair, but that Jane and 3 unmarried male co-workers stayed over for 3 extra days, all in one suite. He said they even billed the company for the extra days. He gave me the names of the men and took his check and wished me well. I called one of my fishing buddies who had gotten a shark of a lawyer to protect him in his divorce. He gave me the lawyer's name, and I called and set up an appointment for the next afternoon. Someone from my work gave Jane my cell phone number, and as she had been required to get a new phone because she left me the one I paid for, I did not recognize the number and answered it. When she started to talk, I ended the call, trashed the phone, and went to Walmart and got a different one. I also reached out to some people at work about the info leak and demanded and got a company phone for work calls. I did not give the company my new personal phone number. I talked with the lawyer, and she said that if I could prove adultery, I would be off the hook for spousal support. She also said that if I got all of the information on the retreat that the investigator had given me, we would have a case against the company for non-enforcement of their personnel policies. I then rehired the investigator with instructions to locate where Jane was staying, who also lived there, and who she went out with. I wanted photos, dates, times, addresses, and all of the info he could get on the 3 men she stayed with at the retreat. Of course, these were just my opening salvos. I decided to post on Jane's Facebook page her little note. I had my cyber guy hack her account and post the note and had him also send it to all of her Facebook friends and likes. I also took out a full-page ad in the local newspaper and had the note put in the ad and added the question: where was she when the one-day retreat was over? Nothing happened for about 2 weeks. Then the fecal matter hit the oscillating and rotating air-moving device. Jane and the 3 guys were fired. The company offered to settle the lawsuits that my lawyer filed. And lastly, my family and friends rallied around me and shut Jane out. The investigator came back with the latest report that while Jane had been living with the 3 guys, he could only show evidence that they all lived at the same address. That turned out to be okay because the lease agreement only allowed persons who were on the agreement to stay more than 2 days without the apartment management being informed. They lost their lease and had to move. When her lovers found out they had no place to live, they left town but did not take Jane with them. Jane moved in with her sister, but that only lasted until her sister was fed up with the wailing and whining about how I ruined Jane's life. After she kicked Jane out, Jasmine called me at work and apologized for getting in the mess in the first place. After all of my plans were executed and the revenge was complete, I told my lawyer to have the papers served and to send a copy of a picture of Jane with each of her lovers at the apartment. I also had him send a note that I wrote to her. Jane, you have now received the divorce papers. I hope you realize how badly you have hurt me. I do love you, but I will not stay married to a liar and a cheat. I hope you found yourself on the retreat. I am sure that all 3 of those men found you. I know all about the firing, and I am surprised that the company did not have all of you arrested for fraud. Now that you understand that I am aware of all that you did since your retreat, I expect you to sign the papers as written. If you don't, I will withdraw the current divorce terms and share all the information I have about your behavior with your family, your church, and all your friends. I will also do to your Facebook what happened before with the new info. As I said, I love you. If I didn't, what you did would not hurt. You have 1 week to sign and return the papers. If you have any questions, call my lawyer, and he or I, through him, will answer them. I want to have no more direct contact with you, Eric. And with that, I ended my final note. She signed the papers and left town. I left my job for a new opportunity in a different state. I never heard from Jane and remarried to a loving lady who has blessed me with 3 children. And that's the end of today's story. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up and drop a comment below. Your support helps the algorithm push my content further. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It really helps me keep creating more stories for you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.